Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I am Adil Thomas. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Another group of 13 Israeli hostages and 4 foreign nationals released by Hamas. India celebrates Constitution Day. The Indian Constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26th of November in 1949. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi shares his thoughts in his monthly radio program, says vocal for local strength and economy of the country, asks countrymen to shift towards digital payments. And India look to keep that winning run in T20s going against Australia. In the southern state of Kerala, India lead the 5-match series 1-0. The second group of 17 hostages released by Hamas on Saturday. The hostages include 13 Israeli and 4 nationals from Thailand. Hostages arrived on board a bus early hours of Sunday at Egypt's Rafah crossing, where ambulances and medical staff were awaiting their arrival. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, along with his national security advisor and other military officials, monitored the operations of bringing back the second batch of hostages freed from Hamas captivity. The official release happened later in the night after a brief disruption earlier to the deal to free captives was overcome with the mediation of Qatar and Egypt. As part of the hostage deal, Israel confirmed it has released a further 39 Palestinian prisoners. Today is the third day of the 4-day truce between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. During the first 2 days of the truce, a total of 41 hostages, including 24 Israelis and 17 nationals or foreign nationals, were released by Hamas. A total of 50 hostages are to be exchanged for 150 Palestinian prisoners over 4 days under the truce. While Israeli defense forces said that 200 trucks with humanitarian aid were sent to international aid organizations. In a video posted on social media, the IDF said that the trucks loaded with aids were sent to aid agencies operating in Gaza through the Rafah crossing. The aid was sent as part of the operational pause and within the framework for the release of the hostages agreed with the US with the mediation of Qatar and Egypt. It further added that the humanitarian aid trucks carried food, water, equipment for shelters, along with medical supplies. Earlier, the IDF spokesman, Daniel Hagari, in a press briefing said that the aid is being delivered under the supervision of the UN aid agencies. Israel's Foreign Minister Eli Cohen met with Thai workers on Saturday. These Thai nationals were among the hostages released from Gaza on Friday following a temporary truce between Israel and Hamas. Thai and Filipino farm workers employed in southern Israel were among around 240 hostages taken by Gaza by gunmen when Hamas terrorists launched a killing spree on October 7th. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant met on Saturday with commanders and soldiers fighting against Hamas in Gaza. According to a statement, the Israeli Defense Minister arrived there on board a naval vessel together with the commander of the Israeli Naval Vice Admiral David Salma. He toured the northern coast and received a briefing on the troops' activities during operations and security measures taken during the temporary truce agreed with Hamas.
There is a direct correlation between your actions and the elimination of the Hamas, and also between your actions and our ability to bring back the hostages. That's the process. The time frame for the pause is short. It won't take weeks. It will take days, a little more or little less. Any further negotiations will be held under fire. That is, they want to continue discussing the next time. It will be held while our forces are fighting. That's the basic. We cannot leave Gaza and stop the war until we reach a situation in which we bring back all the hostages, because we have many more captives.
Well, speaking on Saturday regarding the release of hostages held by Hamas, US President Joe Biden expressed his optimism to see something soon after a temporary delay over the supplies appear to threaten the deal. As reported by Qatar's foreign ministry, the International Committee of the Red Cross verified shortly after Biden's remarks that Hamas had turned over 4 foreigners and 13 Israeli hostages to the group. Moving on, the foreign ministers of South Korea, China and Japan met in South Korea on Sunday, seeking to restart cooperation among the Asian neighbors and to pave the way for a trilateral summit. While China and the United States have been mending frayed ties, including a summit this month between President Xi Jinping and Joe Biden, Beijing is concerned that Washington and its key regional allies are strengthening their three-way partnership. The 3 top diplomats are gathering in a port city of Busan in South Korea, also the first such meeting since 2019. South Korean Foreign Minister Park Jin met separately on Sunday morning with his Japanese counterparts Yoko Kamikawa and China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi. As per North Korea's state media, their leader Kim Jong has visited the Spy Satellite Control Center over the weekend to review photos of different target regions in South Korea taken in the morning, including Busan. It added one photo showed U.S. aircraft carrier Carl Vinson, which arrived at a port in the South Korean city of Busan on November 21st. Campaigning for his election, Congo's opposition candidate Denis Mugabe promised to work towards a well-structured and modernized military if elected. A 2018 Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Mugabe attended his first election rally in Bukavu since officially announcing his candidacy back in October. He pitted against President Felix Tshisekedi, whose first term was mired by economic hardship, epidemics, and worsening insecurity in the East. There are also other players in the presidential elections which are scheduled for December 23rd this year. Madagascar's incumbent president, Andry Rajoelina, won a third term following a disputed election boycotted by the opposition and its supporters. He won 59% of the votes to defeat his 2 closest rivals, the former president and also another player. DD India's Isaac Lucando has more.
Voter turnout in Madagascar's election was recorded at 46%, one of the lowest in the island's history. 11 million voters had to choose between the incumbent President Andry Rajoelina and 12 other candidates. The low turnout was influenced by calls for a boycott from 10 presidential contenders who withdrew their candidacies. Their decision was based on concerns about the election's credibility and the validity of President Rajoelina's candidacy due to his dual French nationality. Despite their withdrawal, the names of these candidates remained on the ballot. Following the release of provisional results, the opposition has officially stated that it does not recognize them. Their hope now lies in the High Constitutional Court, the country's highest court, which is tasked with validating the election results within 9 days. This period allows for the filing of appeals in the event of any challenges to the election results. Isaac Lucando in Dar es Salaam, reporting for DD India.
Well, a major goal of the COP28 summit in Dubai will be reaching a new agreement to address the world's suffocating plastic problem. Reports predict that the volume of plastic entering the world's oceans could triple in the next 15 years if immediate corrective action is not taken. One major polluter is Japan, a country which is second only to the United States in the amount of per capita plastic waste it generates per capita. Experts there are warning that the country's worsening plastic addiction is already unsustainable. Chris Gilbert has more from Tokyo.
The environmental cost of convenience. Millions of plastic bottles, buckets, tires and toys washed up on the banks of East Tokyo's Arakawa River is an indictment and illustration of Japan's plastic problem. Volunteers come here every week to clear the grass, collect the trash and carry it off. The group has collected 16,000 bags of plastic in 6 years, and it's not finished yet.
We're cleaning much faster than it's accumulating, for sure. You know, and people all over Japan, there are thousands of beach cleanups all over Japan. And we can't even get it all done. You know, we just keep hitting it every week. We just keep chopping at it. You know, so we'd like to have more people joining.
While these volunteers are making headway, the country is barely making progress with kicking its dependency on plastic. Japan produces more than 21 billion plastic bottles annually, a 65% increase over the last 2 decades. And while it's a world leader for waste collection, with recycling services reaching more than 90% of households, experts are concerned about how that waste is recycled. Every year, more than 2.5 billion plastic bottles are incinerated and pumped into the atmosphere, where the microscopic debris stays until it's inhaled or settles on the land or ocean. Professor Hiroshi Okochi's research team has found microplastics in the clouds 1,000 feet above Mount Fuji.
Today, the weather seems fine, but there are definitely microplastics flying around in the air. Humans know about the plastic waste in the ocean. They know about the harm to animals because they can see it. But there are plastics all around us right now. They're just invisible.
He says the concentration of airborne plastic may be especially high in megacities like Tokyo.
Japan's work-focused culture has fed its waste consumption. Busy people on the go can get a nutritious lunch and a coffee for less than $5. But there are long-term costs for this convenience, the waste that remains, and the taxpayer-funded recycling system.
But even recycling is not a foolproof method of disposing of plastic waste.
Ultimately, plastic wastes are prone to stay. It's hard to completely clear them, even if they're recycled. Our waste will stay with future generations. They will inherit it in all forms. It will impact their intestines and reproductive system. They will pay for our waste.
He says the cost responsibility must be shifted from taxpayers to producers to lift the price of plastic and deter its use if Japan is to help lead the world towards a more sustainable future. Chris Gilbert in Tokyo, reporting for DD India.
Well, NASA Administrator Bill Nelson is set to travel to India and the UAE beginning on Monday for a series of meetings with key government officials. Bill Nelson will also meet with space officials in both countries to deepen bilateral cooperation across a broad range of innovation and research-related areas, especially in human exploration and earth sciences. Nelson's visit to India will fulfill a commitment as part of the US and India's initiative on critical and emerging technology initiated by President Joe Biden. In the India leg, Nelson will visit several locations, including the Bengaluru-based facilities where the NISAR spacecraft and joint Earth observation mission between India and the between India's counterpart ISRO and NASA is undergoing testing and integration for the launch in 2024. In a race against time in a jungle in Bolivia, as this sanctuary sends out rescuers to recover animals hurt in large-scale wildfires. The Inti Warayasi Animal Refuge in the north of La Paz has collaborated with volunteers and firefighters to aid animals in need. Rescue patrols the forest is searching for animals at risk or injured by the fires and treat them until they have recovered. Climate change has affected animals more than humans globally. Workers at the Pristina Bear Sanctuary in Kosovo are busy in taking care of a lion named John, puzzled by the heavy snowfall in its enclosure. Similarly, some of the bears in the sanctuary also didn't bother to hibernate during suitable weather conditions. Kalpitia is perfect for dolphins and whale watching these days. Beautiful scenes of swarms of dolphin fishes is a common sight in the Kalpitia seas. A large number of locals and foreign tourists flock to the beaches to watch the manifold behavior of these fishes. Showcasing the life and illustrious career of NBA great LeBron James, and museum opened in Ohio on Saturday. Fans lined up to get a look at LeBron James's home court, where they took a self-guided tour, offering an insight in his life and journey from Akron to the NBA, Olympics, business, philanthropy, and beyond. The museum is located at House 330, a facility started by the James Foundation to serve the community where he was raised. All proceeds from ticket sales will go back into the community. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Nation remembers the victims of 26/11 Mumbai attack on the 15th anniversary of the tragedy. Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty romp into the men's doubles final in China Masters, play the Chinese pair for the first time for their second BWF Super 750 title.
India International Trade Fair, celebrating Indian artisans. Meet the changemakers.
Sahil is my son. He's 25 years old. He is differently able. He has a capacity of making beautiful handicrafts.
हम लोग अपनी इंडियन टॉयज जो पुरानी कल्चर्स है उसको बढ़ावा देने के लिए सर लकड़ी के सारे प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते हैं हम लोग.
Wherever we give the products, we deliver the products to any client. We don't use plastic.
Rich artistic traditions and a vision of sustainable development.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Anil Thomas. The operation to rescue the 41 workers trapped inside the Silkiara tunnel in the Himalayan hilly state of Uttarakhand's Uttarkashi entered its 15th day on Sunday. The final phase of the rescue operation has been hit by repeated snags, with the American auger machine hitting a metal grinder in the rubble and breaking down. Rescuers will now focus on vertical drilling after the rescue operation was again halted after the auger machine broke down. There are only few meters of debris left between the rescuers drilling in from the Silkiara end and the trapped workers. But officials say it is difficult to anticipate when this last leg of the operation will be completed. India is celebrating its Constitution Day today to mark the adoption of the Indian Constitution by the Constituent Assembly in 1949. Constitution Day is also known as Samvidhan Divas.
74 years ago, India's Constituent Assembly convened on November 26, 1949, to breathe life into the Constitution. The framers crafted a forward-looking, resilient document that reflects the nation's ideals and safeguards the future of every Indian. It is hailed as the foundation of the world's largest democracy, guiding its course and serving as a source of democratic governance and inspiration. On Constitution Day last year, Prime Minister highlighted global attention on India's progress and its strengthening international image rooted in the Constitution. He emphasized that "we the people" is not just a phrase but a call, a pledge and a belief that has made India the mother of democracy. The Constitution integrates the best from foreign constitutions while preserving India's ancient heritage and freedom struggle.
हमारे संविधान के प्रेम्बल की शुरुआत में जो वी द पीपल लिखा है, ये सिर्फ 3 शब्द नहीं है. वी द पीपल एक आह्वान है, एक प्रतिज्ञा है, एक विश्वास है. संविधान में लिखी ये भावना उस भारत की मूल भावना है जो दुनिया में लोकतंत्र की जननी रहा है, मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी रहा है.
Under Dr. Rajendra Prasad's leadership and Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar's stewardship, the Constitution achieved a remarkable balance, pulsating with democratic spirit and adaptable to future needs. It endows every Indian with a duty to respect its ideals and institutions and embrace the legacy of the freedom struggle.
संसद में अभी हाल ही में जो
The recent enactment of the Women's Reservation Bill in our Parliament is a great example of elevating the role of our women. In addition to this, the setup of the Commission for the Amendment of Other Backward Classes has also been provided for in the Constitution.
उसकी व्यवस्था संविधान में की गई है.
The Constitution also advocates for gender equality, reflecting in provisions like the recent bill endorsing 33% parliamentary and state assembly reservations for women. It provides legal channels to address societal issues and aims to establish India as a democratic exemplar through constitutional amendments.
Well, India's President Draupadi Murmu unveiled the statue of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the Supreme Court premise on the occasion of Constitution Day today. The President also planted a sapling in the premise of the Apex Court of India on this occasion. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi appealed to the people to be vocal for local to strengthen the economy of the country. Sharing his thoughts in his monthly radio program, Mann Ki Baat, Prime Minister Modi asked the countrymen to shift towards digital payments. He also paid tributes to the victims of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks and said India will never forget the 26th of November, as on this day the country had come under the dastardliest terror attack.
26 नवंबर हम कभी भी भूल नहीं सकते हैं। आज के ही दिन देश पर सबसे जघन्य आतंकी हमला हुआ था। आतंकियों ने मुंबई को, पूरे देश को थर्रा कर रख दिया था। लेकिन ये भारत का सामर्थ्य है कि हम उस हमले से उबरे और अब पूरे हौसले के साथ आतंक को कुचल भी रहे हैं। मुंबई हमले में अपना जीवन गंवाने वाले सभी लोगों को मैं श्रद्धांजलि देता हूं। इस हमले में हमारे जो जांबाज वीरगति को प्राप्त हुए, देश आज उन्हें याद कर रहा है।
Well, India is marking its 15 years since the horrific terror attack in Mumbai on the 26th of November 2008, which was carried out by 10 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists. At least 166 people lost their lives in that incident. The terrorists targeted multiple places in the attacks, including Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, Taj and Trident Hotels, Nariman House, Leopard Cafe and Kama Hospital. Remembering the attack, Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar took to social media, and I quote, India's quest to bring those responsible for planning and executing these horrific acts of justice. Horrific act to justice continues. U.S. Ambassador to Israel also tweeted a picture paying floral tributes to honor the memory of the victims lost. He pledged to continue to fight against acts of terror together with the government of India. Remembering the terrorist attack, Israeli Ambassador to India, Naor Gilon, posted a picture of the Nariman House rooftop memorial where the names of all the Mumbai 26/11 victims are engraved. Well, this year, marking the 15th anniversary of the tragic terror attacks, Israel unilaterally designated Lashkar-e-Taiba as a terror organization. On this day every year, India remembers the people and the security forces who lost their lives while fighting the terrorists. In the terrorist attack that lasted 4 days or 96 hours, 15 policemen, 2 NSG commandos lost their lives. Among those were Major Sandeep Unikrishnan, who was serving in the elite 51 Special Action Group of National Security Guards, that's the NSG. He was posthumously awarded India's highest peacetime gallantry award, Ashoka Chakra. He displayed the most conspicuous bravery, camaraderie and leadership of the highest order. On to sports now, India play Australia in the second T20 international in the southern state of Kerala, in the capital, that's Thiruvananthapuram. India is up 1-0 in the 5-match series when we'll look to keep that winning momentum going, while Australia will bring back World Cup hero Travis Head and Glenn Maxwell in the playing 11. India's double men's duo of Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty entered the final of badminton in the China Masters after they defeated home favourite He Ji-ting and Ren Xiangyu 22-16, 22-20 in the semi-finals on Saturday. They will play their fourth final of the Badminton World Federation World Tour this year. They previously won all 3 of them. They were victorious in the Swiss, Indonesian and Korean Open this year. Satvik and Chirag will face the winners of the second semi-final in the final on Sunday. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. You can also visit our website ddindia.co.in. We're going to be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Anil Thomas from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.